This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread, and we have finally reached the very last segment of growing the value of our company. And today we're going to begin our deep dive into the subject of building a best-in-class risk management department. And we're going to do this so we can grow the maximum value of our companies. Now, in risk management, I've changed that slightly from when I first started this series some 50 episodes ago. I used to say legal. So if you'll go back around that pinwheel that we laid way back, seemed like an aeon ago, back in episode number 80, I dealt with a pinwheel. And in that pinwheel, we had 8 key areas of business. And so just as a refresher, we dealt with planning. We dealt with leadership. And if you remember, those are typically your strong D personality types, which focus on those areas. We dealt with marketing and sales. And those typically you work with on your I personalities. We dealt with the people of business, or HR, you might call it. So the people and the operations. And those are typically your S personalities. And then now we dealt with accounting. And I used to say legal, but I'm going to change the term to risk management. And those are typically your C personalities. So we just outlined the 8 areas, the 8 key areas of business that every business owner is having to focus on. And we've come to the point now where we're going to analyze this topic of risk management. Let me first of all explain, why did I change from legal to risk management? And the reason for that is legal denotes that all we're dealing with is things that attorneys deal with. And that's not actually the case. We have to also deal with insurances here, because insurances are there to reduce risk on the business, and they co-purpose hand in hand, trying to minimize our exposure whenever a risk does occur. So we're going to analyze throughout this deep dive the 2 components, legal and insurance. And in the upcoming episodes, what I wanted to do today is just kind of talk high level, tell you what we're going to cover as we wrap up this growing the value of our company series that we've been on for, it feels like an eternity now. What we're going to cover underneath the legal side is we're going to look at entity selections. What type of entities should we have and when should we use them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to deal with agreements, all the various agreements that could run a business or that should be involved in a business. We're going to talk about IP, or some people call it intellectual property. We're going to talk about it and how it may or may not work in your business. We're going to deal with financing considerations. Oftentimes people forget that financing in business can have positive or adverse effects on the value of your company. So we're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about contracts. This could be contracts you have with employees, contracts you have with vendors, with customers, with tenants, with landlords. We're going to deal with contracts and how they work in protecting the value of your company. And then we're going to, unfortunately, deal with litigation. I can speak to that firsthand. Litigation is painful. I don't like litigation. I've experienced litigation. And if you can avoid it, by all means, avoid it. So we're going to cover the legal side of risk management for your business. And then after we cover the legal side, we're going to flip to the insurance side of risk management. We're going to cover the types of business insurances you should have in your business. We're going to look at the business owner versus the employee types of insurance. And then we're going to take a really interesting look into the unusual types of insurances that your business may need. So today's a relatively short introduction to this series, but ultimately at the end of this particular series, we are going to examine thoroughly the risk management areas that you need to cover to drive the maximum value of your company. And you may say, well, Justin, why does it matter, man? Look, there is nothing more devastating to your plans than whenever something that you could have prevented happens. You know, life happens. I say that oftentimes. You know, we read this bumper sticker, life is good, but I often say life happens. In fact, I told somebody today, you know, life just happens sometimes. Life happened to me on April the 6th, 2009. I found myself in the middle of a legal storm. Oh my goodness. It was kicking the teeth, kicking the gut, and life happened. But you can learn from the experiences of others. And in sports, we often say a good defense is better than a good offense many times. So we're going to deal with defensive structures here. And at the end of the day, if we do this right, we will add maximum value to our company through shoring up or making solid our areas of risk management. So with that introduction, folks, stay tuned for the next coming episodes. We're going to jump right into it with episode 132 coming up on the Financially Simple podcast. Hey, y'all go out and make it a great day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.